You, my uncle, I need to answer the question from the sisters. The sisters asked about the center in occupied Palestine. They have a center in a place called Kababir. They have very few people there. It's the same old families. I know one of the people who left them. He lives in the UK now. And they have anywhere from 600 to 1,000 people living in this village. But they are allowed free passage across occupied Palestine, where, as you know, our Palestinian brothers and sisters are subjected to roadblocks and to checkpoints and to all kinds of other intimidation. The Qadianis of Kababir are not subject to the same kind of distress that our Palestinian brothers and sisters are. It's a very, very shameful situation, and they continue to broadcast their MTA propaganda from there as well, which is very interesting. I tried to write an email to them to find out where they got their funding from. Interestingly enough, my email just bounced. So it's a dubious setup. It's always the same old faces. It's impossible for them to penetrate the hearts of the Arab brothers because they know their language. You know, if they start to mess around with this concept of Khatme Nabuwat to an Arab, they would be embarrassed. So most Arabs don't fall for this nonsense, alhamdulillah. Do you have any further follow-ups? Sorry, uncle over here.
Last question.
Yeah, as you said, this movement started roughly 100 years ago from not one of the details. At that time, almost the entire Muslim world was the colonial Raj. Now, alhamdulillah, almost every country is free, and the educational system has improved. What are the scientific reasons that this movement, despite all this awareness, abundance of information readily available on internet and other media sources, why it's still on the increase almost in every country, particularly in Africa, even in Arabian countries? Why?
Uncle here asked a very good question indeed. He said, despite scientific advancements and the improvement of the proliferation of knowledge across the world through means such as the internet, why does a cult like Ahmadiyya continue to thrive, prosper, and increase? Very good question. Now, I'll answer that in several parts. First of all, Ahmadiyya is a cult, okay? There is no doubt about this. The way it treats its membership, the way it responds to the outside. There's a famous scientist called Robert Lifton. He has 8 criteria that define what a cult is. And of those 8 criteria, the Qadianis fall into 5 of those categories. So they're not the worst possible cult. There are many worse, okay? But they are in fact a cult. What that means is that they keep their people within. Now, as you know, any movement that keeps its people within its boundaries and makes them scared of the outside, especially of Muslims, mullahs like us, right? Any group that does that is going to grow organically anyway. So every generation they will increase in size. That's the first thing. Second thing, they don't know themselves how many people they have. They're very big temples, but they're very empty a lot of the time. Sometimes they build something very big and impressive, and they have 5 or 6 people turning up for Jummah Salah. It's not technically speaking Jummah Salah, it's their equivalent. Now, the other thing that we need to bear in mind is that, yes, they have got a few more people in Africa than we would like them to have, but that's primarily through missionary work. Anyone know what missionary work is? What does it mean to be a missionary, especially if you're talking about the colonialist era? Missionary work went hand in hand with indoctrination, with aid, with medicine, with hospitals, with schools. So if you wanted your child who was sick to be fed and to go to a proper school, you became Christian. Right? That's how it worked. Qadianis work in a very, very similar way in Africa. Thankfully, a lot of our African brothers are, alhamdulillah, they're getting away from this. Sorry.
1990 में मेरा जाना हुआ था वेस्ट अफ्रीका, माली. 30,000 Muslims was converted into the Qadianism. 30,000. So I went there. When I went there, the Sheikh became Qadiani. He doesn't know what are their beliefs. Then I asked him, the Sheikh, you know this Qadiani people? So I said, I don't know. I am looking that they are the Islamic sect. No, I said, no. They believe in another prophet. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, he claimed to be prophet. So, oh, astaghfirullah, he doesn't know that. So all 30,000 Muslims, they became Muslim again at that time. So then what happened here? They went that we are going to build a mosque, we are going to give the water, there is a shortage of water there. We'll give you the water, well, and we build the hospitals. So like this, they are working in the missionary work. So they are very dangerous, brother. And be aware of this. Their television channel, their internet, they are very active. So all I say, I request all the brothers, be aware. खुद भी होशियार रहें और दूसरों को भी होशियार करें. बहरहाल ये हमारा सेशन अभी अंग्रेजी का खत्म होता है और चाय के लिए एक ब्रेक होती है. इंशाल्लाह चाय के बाद ठीक आधे घंटे में हम दोबारा सेशन शुरू करेंगे. तो आपके लिए चाय हाजिर है.
अब आप लोग अपनी सीट पे बैठिए, 5 मिनट इनको दें, ये आपको प्लेटें तैयार करके देंगे. माशाल्लाह हमारे आज के आप लोग काफ़ी तादाद में मौजूद हैं, तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि हर एक के पास कुछ तो कुछ खाने के लिए पहुँचे, तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. ऐसा ना रहो. और ख़वातीन के लिए, ख़वातीन तशरीफ़ रखें, हम लोग वहाँ पे आपके लिए खाने का इंतज़ाम कर रहे हैं. तो अभी ये जो सेशन है अभी 4:30 बजे है. इंशाअल्लाह 20 मिनट का हम आपको वक्फा देते हैं. इंशाअल्लाह आप 20 मिनट के बाद खा के आप वापस अपनी सीटों पे, नशिस्तों पे आ जाइए और इसके बाद हम इंशाअल्लाह दूसरा सेशन शुरू करेंगे और उसकी तफसील मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा इंशाअल्लाह. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.